Yeah, so thank you so much for tuning in today, everyone. And today I am, actually, I'll edit this, but how do I say your stage name?
Davy Sage.
Davy Sage, okay.
Yeah.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning into the podcast today. And today I'm interviewing Davy Sage. So he's a fellow Nigerian and also a musician. So I was so excited to interview him because I saw that we're both part of the same music association in Saskatchewan. So Davy, thank you so much for coming in for the interview today.
No, thanks for having me. I appreciate that.
Yeah, so let's get into it. Tell me about yourself. Tell us a bit about your career path and your educational background and kind of how did you get into this?
Absolutely. I started writing music, writing songs around maybe when I was like 13 years old. Then my brother is a DJ. So back then, my mom, we actually took one of the rooms in my mom's house, and he's just like, we turned into a studio. So I get to listen to different genres, exactly, from hip hop music to like 80s R&Bs and 90s R&Bs and a little bit of Afro pop as well. So it's been a very, very should I say wonderful ride right from the start. Then also being around a DJ kind of give me a very good foundation and clear understanding about music and different genres and stuff like that.
Right.
So I initially tried to pursue a career in soccer, which didn't work out.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, I injured my knee, so I couldn't go professional. Exactly. But yeah, music is everything to me. I started a bit back home, then I came to Canada in 2010. Okay. And I went to school in Vancouver and studied forensic accounting and fraud investigation.
Wow.
Still trying to do my music on the side. I eventually got lucky. I remember that was the day I was going to record a song in the studio called I'm an African.
Yes.
So I got into the studio. The guy that owned the studio just accidentally just bumped into my session. He was like, "Oh man, I love your vibe, man. Your music is different. Let's talk." So yeah, that was in 2014. So 2015, I officially got signed into an independent label called B Major Music.
Awesome.
Exactly. So then after that, I dropped one studio album with them. Then the following year, I just decided to go solo because of just a conflict of ideas and stuff like that with the the label I was signed to. So which kind of actually worked fine for me because after leaving the label, I was able to actually do more work all by myself and actually be able to get a clear understanding of my path as an artist. So that's really good.
Right. It's funny how that works.
You said what, sorry?
I said it's funny how that works, for artists.
Exactly. And I'm not saying it's not a good thing to get signed into a label, but we're in a world right now where music is available through different sources, right? So definitely one of the things is if you're an independent artist and you know what you're doing and you know how to get it, I don't think you need a label at all. You can just do it all by yourself. The only difference is, obviously labels have financial power, which is 100% understandable because it's a big company, right? So,
yeah, and sorry to cut you off. I think you're talking about in 2018.
Exactly. So 2018, I dropped my own solo album in 2018.
Awesome.
All projects all funded by myself. I have I got to record a song called "You Bad" in the album, which actually did very well, and I did a video for it as well. Exactly, all shot in Saskatchewan, which is good. Now I have then I released a couple of singles after that. I released Good Feeling. I'm dropping another one called Make You Mine this month. So yeah, it's been an interesting ride for me. Should I say that? Yeah, so it's been good so far.
Awesome. And I have to ask because we're born in the same city.
In the same city, I know.
Province, and this province is even a random province for like Nigerians to find themselves in. So how did you wind up here after all of that?
I know, of all places, because my parents used to live in Ontario back in the 80s. Yeah, so my sister was born in Canada, and my dad decided to move back to Nigeria because he had more opportunities way back home than here.
Right.
So then my sister came back in 2002. Then I joined her in 2010. And my sister came back in 2002 and she ended up in Saskatchewan. I was like, what are you doing more places? It's like, I like it. It's peaceful. It's family friendly. I was like, okay, let me give it a shot and see how it is. So I moved. I moved to Saskatchewan to join her and see how it is. Since 2010, I've been here.
Wow, that's so amazing. Yeah, it's very funny to me. Like, even when my dad first announced us we were moving here, he said, we're moving to Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. I was like, those are the strangest names I've ever heard. But hey, I'll I'll take your word for it. Let's do it.
I can imagine that. I can imagine that.
For
And
sure.
how long have you been in Saskatchewan though?
Whew, now I have to think. Oh my goodness. I feel like, yeah, it's been 22 years.
Oh
22
my
years.
goodness. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Yeah, because my sister was born here. So
Oh.
I think of her age, and that's how long we've been here. She was born the summer we moved here.
Oh, I see. Wow, that's good. That's good. That's
Crazy.
good.
Yeah. And so like you talked about your background, you talked about kind of what inspired you to be a
Yeah.
musician.
Mm-hmm.
How did you create this kind of niche of Afrobeat music to be popular in Saskatchewan? I know it's obviously popular back home in Nigeria. How did you make
Exactly.
people here get excited about what you're doing as well?
You see, one thing that I realized when I came in here was that Saskatchewan is just embracing other genres. Like the main genre in Saskatchewan, or maybe let's say Central Canada or the
Yeah.
Prairie, is basically rock, country, and maybe a bit of folk and indie music. So they're not really
Yeah.
used to the commercial stuff,
Yeah.
and which is understandable. My own style is different because what happened is listening to different genres while growing up. For example, like I listened to a lot of Tupac and Biggie when I was growing up.
Yeah.
I listened to and I listened to a lot of R. Kelly, a lot of Joe, a lot of Babyface R&B music, a lot of Lauryn Hill, and a bunch of
Right.
80s and 90s hip hop and stuff like that. And trying as much as I can to you know blend my own style together. It's kind of fun. People sometimes compare me with Akon. They said I have a similar
Ah.
style, but I'm influenced a lot by Akon music because I listen to Akon a lot. And so I blend both Afro pop and mainstream pop together, or mainstream music together, and I kind of like create it in my own way. And
Right.
when I present it to people of this part of the world, even though they're not African, they can still relate to it because it's much more. It's presented to them in a way that they can actually understand.
So it's more accessible in a way.
Exactly, compared to like a typical Afro pop that they can only just vibe to the sound and the beats.
But not
If you
necessarily what
listen,
they're saying. Yeah.
exactly,
Yeah, I know what you
exactly.
mean.
Exactly. So if you
Yeah.
listen to a couple of my songs, for example, like You Bad, for example, Dance With Me, for example, Good Feeling, the one I just dropped, for example, you can tell like this guy is an Afro pop artist, but not really the typical Afro pop artist that you hear out there from every other like, mainstream Nigerian artist.
I'd have to agree with you actually, because I did check out your video before I reached out to you.
Oh, good.
And yeah, I did notice that. I was like, oh, it has the Afrobeat, but I could clearly understand you. And that's not to say I have anything, like I love Afrobeat music. I feel like that's one of the things when I finally
It's
was
a,
getting into
it's a,
traveling back that I really picked up on. Uh,
exactly. It's the new wave.
it's just so fun, so danceable. It's like one of the easiest things to dance to. And like you
Exactly.
said, growing up here, whenever there's country, I'm like, how do I dance to this? Like, I don't know. Like, anyways, but it just made sense for me. And yeah, but I found that obviously, like, I don't speak a lot of pidgin, and sometimes there'd be like kind of like these pidgin flares in there, and I'm like, I don't know. Like, my cousins tried to teach me, and I'm like, guys, I'm like completely lost.
I know, no, I completely understand that. Yeah, that's the truth though, and that's more reason why. If you read my lyrics very well, you probably notice that most of the time, like I speak just pure English, and probably just add like a couple of pidgin English in the middle of my lyrics. That's basically what I do, and I do it because I want people to relate to my music, not from the point of the fact that, oh, that beat is dope. No, I want to like, okay, I can relate to what he's saying. I can hear him clear. I can hear his emotion basically. That's
Yeah,
the goal.
interesting. Yeah, I love that. And I think that's really encouraging. Like, obviously, this podcast is coming more from my business end, but my first passion is music as well. And like
Oh, I see.
you, I also write like more like R&B, like gospel,
Oh,
like
really?
kind of stuff. And it's not the typical sound out here. So some of the people I've worked with have been like, oh man, this is so fun because I'm usually recording country albums. And there's not a lot of people like you I get to work with in this city. So
Exactly,
it's
exactly.
like you said, it's definitely like refreshing for them. It's kind of like you're kind of like this like big like fish in a little pond almost for it. That's why I feel like you are, because your music seems so strong and the video seems so strong for like you being based in, I believe it's Regina, and I'm
Oh,
just like,
yeah.
oh, like how did he even get all this together? Like this
It's
looks
kind of
like
funny.
legit. Like,
I
you
had
know.
it's kind of funny because I actually I got a lot of reviews about my stuff as well with the same thing you just said.
Yeah.
People like, yeah, what are you doing in this city? Like, this is not the right place for you and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But one thing that I also can really pinpoint is that when I actually my coming to Saskatchewan actually is a really good thing because I get to like start in an environment where there's nothing similar
Right.
to what I do. Then I was able to like build up myself so that the momentum is there. Um, I don't have to go to bigger cities at the early stage and trying to compete, but I already build a resume for myself here.
Right.
Then, if I go to cities like, for example, Toronto, I already have a portfolio of work sitting there that I can actually pitch to every other people and stuff like that. So
And
that's the advantage of being here, exactly.
right.
But eventually, I'm still gonna move for sure. But
It's a good place to start. Yeah,
exactly,
for
exactly.
sure. I actually, along those lines, do you feel like what does your fan base ratio look like between Canada and Nigeria at this point? Do you feel like it's really even? Is it super like Nigeria heavy, or do you feel like Canadians are starting to really connect and
It's kind of
like
funny.
listen?
Yeah, I feel like at the moment though, I'm still my music is not shall I say fully marketed in Nigeria to gain a lot of audience.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. And I think is what I should do right now. But you know how the music the Nigerian market is different because
Right.
this is how it works. In Nigeria here, if you wanna market your music, then you have to be there.
Because they still
Yeah,
like the physical copies, I think, right? Like they still
yeah,
like,
exactly. There's physical copies as well, but you have to appear on radio, you have to appear on TV shows and interviews and stuff like that. You have
right.
to you have to be there. You have to show up where we have the industry influence
Uh,
that actually call the shots and everything like that. You have to be there and talk to them and pitch your stuff to them before they can actually see. And you know what? Let's push this through the radios and stuff like that. But
right.
if you're here and trying to market the music in Nigeria, it's a bit of a hard work, which might pay off, but it's a 50-50 chance because you don't know who you're dealing with on the other end. So if you send
Right.
your music to them, they might not even play. They might just take the money or take whatever you offer them and just push your music to the side.
Mm. And I was gonna ask you too, is Spotify as big of a trend over there as it is over here?
You mean, sorry, can you come again with that?
Yeah, for sure. Is Spotify as big of a trend in Nigeria as it is over here in
I
terms
think,
of music
it's
streaming?
not as big as it's not as big as here, of course, but it's growing.
It's
Let me
growing.
use that word. It's growing exactly because back in Nigeria, they still do free streaming. They still
Right.
so they're not a lot of premium users of Spotify are in Nigeria compared to other part of the world.
Yeah.
So that's the
Awesome.
difference. But it's still growing. I can see a huge difference. People are beginning to use Spotify as much as even more than Apple Music in Africa
Yeah.
actually, which is kind of funny. But yeah, I think in the next 3 to 4 years we might probably be comparing both region together.
Wow. So interesting. And so you talked about kind of breaking away from being with a label.
Yeah.
Um, I guess what was the scariest thing that happened in that journey of like having to break away and say, okay, I'm going to do this for myself? And like, what was the biggest obstacle you had to overcome?
My main my my main fear was I was recording every day in the studio. I get in the studio with my producer, we record songs, we have like portfolio of songs and stuff like that. but the amount of money that I expect the label to invest in my music for promoting my music wasn't there. So it's basically like we have a lot of amazing artists in this world, like a lot of amazing songs as well, but didn't, get to like be promoted and like, get to a lot of people. So that's the problem. So I was like, I can't be doing that. I can't be recording songs and have it just sitting in the studio without being released or without being promoted and stuff like that. So I was like, I could do this by myself. I just have to create a strategy and that's it. So my fear was like, yeah, if you're working with a company that doesn't see your visions the way you see it, trust me, you guys are going to have a lot of problem along the line.
For sure. Sorry, give me 1 second. I'm just going to close this door.
Okay.
Sorry, back to what you're saying. I think that's really interesting. I think that's really interesting what you're talking about with them making you do all this recording and you're not sure if it's going to release or not. I believe
exactly.
JoJo, I don't know if you know that one singer JoJo, like she...
Oh, yeah, I know JoJo. Yeah, I know JoJo.
Yeah, she was signed when she was 13 and I honestly don't know her full story. She's like older now, but I think she had very much the same issues with her label. And she was like one of the youngest people signed by that label, but she had a bunch of songs they wouldn't release or things like that. And I think she like re-released all the songs she wrote like under herself so that she could actually like get the money for it and everything. So yeah, it's kind of interesting nowadays. Like there's a lot of like dicey things for musicians. Like even this whole like Taylor Swift and Scooter Braun thing going on.
Exactly.
Kind of becoming a weird playing field. Although labels have kind of been known to be, what's the word? Like over, like kind of like just over saturating, over controlling the artist in many ways.
Exactly. And trust me, one thing I also realized is way back in the days, gone are the days when like you have like labels dominating the entire music industry, where like you have like people chasing the label to sign contracts and stuff like that. And at the end of the day, those guys that signed those huge contracts with those labels, they end up coming back like 10, 15 years later, like were like, oh, I mean, I wish like I hadn't done that. Because it's basically just saying, hey, I'm loaning you this money and do a record and I'll get the money back. So they loan them the money and people don't know, they misuse the money thinking, yeah, I got paid by my labels and stuff like that. And then eventually along the line, all the proceeds from the sales of the records or the merchandise and everything goes to the label, because it's more like a loan and the label is getting the money back.
Wow.
So those are the things. And now like things have changed a lot. Like people don't even go to the studios anymore. I mean, people like me, I still go to the studio, but like you can imagine like people recording in the basement and posting online and the song music going viral and stuff like that. It's happening as a day and age that we are. Now labels go after artists now. Artists don't have to chase them anymore.
I think you made a huge point with that, because I think of like a group like Pentatonix, like I'm a huge fan of them. And they were independent for a very long time before they got their record label. And by then they had already built quite a huge following. They already had sold out shows. I think at most they had someone who worked with them as a booking manager at first. And then basically the difference between the labels, they went from having like 50 million views on YouTube to 200 million views on YouTube. So I'm guessing it just gave them a little more international things, but they were already touring Europe, they were already touring Asia, they were already touring Canada before that even happened. So
exactly. And like I said, the only difference between you being an independent artist and being under a label is just the financial power. That's it. Because then, like,
if you have the money, you can do it yourself.
That's what I'm saying. So if you have the money, why not just do it yourself? Because the same platform that you will be pushing your brand or your product through is the same platform that the big labels are also using. So what's the difference? The only difference is the big labels have more money to push ahead of you.
Right.
But at the same time, you don't even have to depend on the same road anymore. You can actually take a different way and be ahead of them.
Right.
Exactly. And that's my philosophy. Like always like stay ahead of the game, because whatever you're doing, make sure that you're always ahead of them. Because if you're not, trust me, before you get there, the whole food is gone.
Yeah. No, I think what you're saying is awesome. And I'm wondering, so you left your label, you started doing your recordings and releasing them. Like, what kind of brand strategy did you kind of have to create? And what kind of efforts did you do to kind of go like, okay, this is my music. I am now pushing it out. I want people to know about me.
Exactly. So I'm more of as an R&B artist, I'm more of a songwriter. I like to pour my mind into my songs. If you listen to the album that I released when I was on my label, which is basically um Waiting for You EP, I had songs there that I knew definitely that if I actually take my time to write those songs, I can do way better. And compared to like me dropping my own solo album in 2018, the difference is there. And I got a lot of reviews like, oh yeah, man, your song is way better compared to when you drop your first EP and stuff like that. Some people don't even know that actually I went solo until I told them like, yeah, it's now Davy Sage music. There's no B major music anymore and stuff like that. The difference is branding myself as an artist. First of all, I'm more of an intimate writer. I like to write about women. I love to write about things that make women feel good. I love to write about good vibe. Good Feeling, for example, is all about good vibe. There's nothing else. When I wrote Good Feeling, I was like, I want to write a song where people just want to have a good feeling. Nothing, no bad vibe, nothing. So when I did that, I took it on a whole new level. So I went through a whole new wave, communicate with my audience compared to me, for example, in You Bad, when I did You Bad. You Bad is much of a experience that I had with someone way back in 2011, and I was able to put it into my song.
Right.
I had exactly. So it's completely different. So I'm more of an emotional writer, and at the same time, I can also write about party and stuff like that. And people listen to me like, yeah, this is good.
That's so interesting. Like the mix. Yeah. No, yeah, I'm really loving what you're talking about. And on your I want to know your perspective on this, because I've noticed that, so I kind of started liking Afrobeat music.
Yeah.
Within the last 6-7 years of my life. I started hearing it at Nigerian parties, Nigerian weddings.
Exactly.
But I've noticed that in the past couple of years, it's almost like it's had a real global explosion. And I do a lot of hip hop dance. So I've noticed that I'll see hip hop dance videos where it'll be Afrobeat dance videos. And there's even a Afrobeat dance workshop in Saskatoon. And I was like, how far has this thing come? So I guess in my opinion, or in your opinion, sorry, do you feel like that has opened up more doors for you? The fact that there's this kind of influx of sudden hunger for this Afrobeat, or do you feel there's more competition now, or how has that changed the game for you?
I think it goes both ways. First of all, I feel like this part of the world embracing the new genre of music, which is basically Afrobeat, is amazing. Now I have international artists trying to do Afrobeat, for example. I can name a lot of artists out there, jumping on Afrobeat. For example, Tory Lanez did a remix of Davido's music, and Drake gets to work with Wizkid and every other artist right now out there just coming up diving into the Afrobeat genre, in which I know what they're trying to do. They're basically trying to just get to the African audience.
Of course.
Exactly, but they have to use something to get to them. So jumping on Afrobeat is what they've been doing and stuff like that, which is good.
Right.
And at the same time, also create awareness of Afrobeat music to the entire North American people who actually listen to hip hop music, because they get to oh yeah, I heard Tory Lanez jump on this beat and it's Afrobeat and stuff, and they get to listen to it. You can't hear an Afro vibe; it's not possible, because Afrobeat is different. It's sweet. It has got the sweet melody and stuff like that. You gotta shake to it. You have no choice.
That's what I love about it.
So Afrobeat, I think, is a new thing right now, and I think it's still gonna grow way more. Now, in the competition side of it, it's gonna be a lot of competition for sure. Even in my city right now, I can name almost 5-6 Afrobeat artists in my city.
In Regina.
Yes, in Regina, actually doing good. Yeah.
Wow. Oh my goodness.
Exactly. So it's a new wave, and it's good because I feel like it will get to a level where Afrobeat will also be named as a genre in international awards. And also in Canada, because in Juno, for example, Juno doesn't have Afrobeat. They don't have it. They only have world music and stuff like that. I feel like we'll get to a point where like Afrobeat will also be separated as hip hop and every other genre as well. So
nice. That would actually be cool. So I see. So you're saying it's kind of opening doors for people to legitimize the style of music.
It is.
That's awesome. And so you're talking about releasing EP and releasing other songs.
Yeah.
Are you planning on releasing a full album soon?
Yeah, I'm working on it. I know I'm strategically, I think I'm trying as much as possible to just take it one step at a time, because right now I'm still a solo artist. So thanks to organizations like SAS Music, for example, Factor Canada, for example, these are associations that's actually funded my project in the past. So definitely, if I can get a very strong backup from associations like that, I can definitely drop a full length album in the next 12 to 18 months.
That's awesome.
Exactly, and the rationale behind it is basically my plan is to basically be able to drop a full length EP and travel on a tour to Africa to promote it.
Nice.
Exactly, because trust me, dropping an album is one thing, the promotion part of it is another thing. And there's a limit to what you can do online. There's a limit to what you can do through blogging and a whole bunch of stuff like that. You have to be there. You have to show them what the album is all about.
Right.
You have to talk about it on radio stations, you have to talk about it on your shows and stuff. Like, so that's the difference.
Right. Are those aspects you've already done in North America? Like, I know you're big in Regina. Have you already been touring North America shows? And
exactly, I've done shows in Toronto, Vancouver. I've done shows in Calgary, Edmonton. I've done shows in Saskatoon too, actually. Yeah.
Oh, next time I'll have to come. Legit.
Yeah, so I've done shows, and now knowing that you live in Saskatoon right now, definitely collaborating with people like you or artists like you definitely will actually make a huge difference in doing shows there. Because when I did my last show, I really didn't have a strong connection with Afro Beat audience way back in Saskatoon. So I just have to swing it. But now knowing that I have people like you, I can definitely use your sort. We can collaborate together and do something in Saskatoon for sure.
That'd be cool. Yeah, I would love that, honestly. I think it'd be fun for me to try and write like a gospel Afrobeat song. Like, I do. Like, I agree. It's like the perfect blend of, doesn't have, it's like, it's kind of referencing that talking drum, that
exactly.
And then you got that like hip hop beat and electric music. Like, I just love how it sounds. Like, it's just
exactly the
one
beauty.
Of the coolest
it's just
genres.
Different.
Yeah.
Like I said, you can't hate an Afro vibe. No way. You can't hate on it.
Yeah. I feel like you've told us so much already. Is there anything specific you want our audience to know about you that's coming up right away that I should kind of give you a shout out on?
Exactly, man. You can actually I'd like you to go check out my new single, Good Feeling, is out on all streaming platforms right now. And I just dropped a music video to it as well. It's also on YouTube right now. It was dropped a week ago and it's doing awesome. Go check it out. You never ever regret it. Trust me. It's a vibe.
Oh man, thank you. This has been an amazing interview. Thank you so much, Davy. And I am so looking forward to not only posting but hearing your music and sharing your information to our audience.
Absolutely, man. Me too, man. It's nice talking to you. I appreciate your time.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.